Yes, people, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be, wherever you're tuning in from this wonderful, amazing Friday night and this planet of ours. You're all very welcome to another pre-match carnage. My God, the previews and the reviews are non-stop because of this jam-packed fixture list we have before the World Cup. Premier League games, Champions League games, Premier League games. And today we are here to talk about another Premier League game, which is bloody hell tomorrow. Bloody hell tomorrow. Yeah, with evening kickoff. Liverpool, Leeds United, two classic teams, classic fixture, two passionate fan bases. And of course, we're going to try and chop it up and break it down as much as we can. And of course, I mean, I could do it on my own, but how sad would I look? Do you know what? I've never done a show on my own. I very rarely do a show on my own where I just sit. I don't know why I can't do that, Cav. So I've asked Cav to help me out. And Cav, the wonderful fella that he is, has helped me out again. Thank you very much, Cav. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. Yeah, I'm pleased to be here. I'm feeling great. I'm excited. It's been the end to a long week, and we get to see Liverpool play again, which, like you said, is all the time at the minute, but it never gets tiring. So I'm feeling good. I'm ready to chop up this big game, as you say. It's an exciting one, isn't it?
Absolutely is. It is an exciting one. Well, I guess it's been exciting for us.
I was just going to say.
I'm gonna say. Do you know what? It takes a brave man from the Leeds side to come in and start off with a smile, and you know, the mighty Joe is in the building as well. You know, we're just talking off air, man. We're coming up to 3 years now, knowing each other. It's mad. Yeah. Time flies. Always enjoyed chatting football with Lee, Joe.
He's known me that long enough. He doesn't even know my name. Do you know what I mean? What's going on here, Grizz? I'm actually hurt, bro. That's hurt.
You know what it is? Do you know what it is? I think we done a show. I was gonna say, I think it's something to do with Lee. Yeah, I can't remember now, but of course, the wonderful Joe Wayman is in the building. Nice one, mate. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well. I'm not as excited for the game as you boys, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm looking. Well, no, I'm not looking forward to it. I'd be lying. Honestly, at the minute, like, it's becoming a little bit of a chore for me, as opposed to something that I mean, you've seen Grizz. You know what I was like with Bielsa, man. The way that I used to speak about this guy, the football, etc. You know, I'm still not over that, I don't think. But it's just to go from one like style of football that for me was amazing, and then be told, oh, we've got a succession plan in place, this guy's going to just follow on from that. There's been nothing like it. So
do you know what my defense used to be about Bielsa and Leeds situation? And you've probably heard this before, but Cav, what people used to say about Bielsa, right, and what I used to take almost offense to, even though he's not my coach, right, not my club, but I used to take it to heart, right? So they used to say, oh, Bielsa, what's he doing? You know what I mean? It's like chaos, conceding goals, but they forgot the excitement part. And Joe's the perfect example of it right now, right here. So Bielsa and the Leeds were in this situation many a time. Joe will tell you. But the excitement of the football and the brand of football used to keep them going, because that's what fans are in it for. Apart from the elite two, three teams in the Premier League, the Man United elite, fuck off. Man City, Liverpool's, Chelsea at a stretch, right? No one else is going to win anything. Everyone else is in their own personal battle, in their own space to do the best they can. And Leeds were in that space where they weren't going to get relegated. They weren't expected to get the top four. Fans just wanted to enjoy themselves. And speaking to Joe, I done a preview on his channel. Go and check it out, people. Like, seeing Joe like this, it's like, this is what you don't want as a fan, because you're losing and you're playing crap football, right, Cav?
Yeah, and look, for me as a Liverpool fan looking at Leeds, I was so excited when they come back to the league because they were just like you said, an exciting team, high energy. One week they'll, win 4-0, the following week they'll lose 4-0, but it was always entertaining, regardless. And if it's entertaining for a neutral, let's say, or
neutral.
then I can imagine for a Leeds fan like Joe, it's probably heartache one week and thrilling the next. But that's football, that's what you're in this game for, is to feel all the emotions. And you're right in saying like everybody has their own personal goals and in the league, because technically only one team can win it. The rest is down to whatever your club's personal goals are. And for
Leeds, you're right, yeah.
And for Leeds, Joe, you'll be able to answer this to me. What is the expectation for Leeds? Because obviously, when they come up playing really exciting football and playing really well. And if I was a Leeds fan, I would have wanted to continue that in the league. And obviously, that is what happened with Bielsa. Now, it's a stronger league. You're going to get a hiding at times if you go with that. But at least you're playing the style of football you want to see. And the results is the results. Either way, first few seasons back in the league, it's going to be a struggle. So the question really is, how much are you willing to give up in terms of style, in terms of results? Because like you say, if you avoid relegation, that's the main aim, surely. And then it's like get as high up as possible. But you want to still play good football, right? You still want to, your team to represent you in a positive way. So what's the aim for Leeds, and what style of football would you actually want to see?
Oh, mate, like I said, going into games, I had belief, no matter the opposition, no matter who we were facing.
That's key.
Under the previous regime, I had belief that on our day, we could cause anyone problems. We showed that. We went to the Etihad and 1-2-1 with 10 men. The opening day when you beat us, 4-3. Them sort of games. Yeah, okay. There were games when we did get hidings, and it ultimately cost Bielsa his job. But now we're looking at a style of play that just doesn't fill me with excitement. It's so, for me, it doesn't translate to the Premier League. Doesn't this really, really narrow counter-pressing style? Because the facts are, when Leeds United, when Jesse's counter-press doesn't work, i.e. teams go direct and just beat the press, he has no other style. There's nothing we could do. So you could give Leeds United the ball. We don't want it because we want to play counter-press, but you just give us the ball and we don't know what to do with it. Whereas under Bielsa, it was just all scripted movements, bam, 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 and before you know it, we're in on goal, And look, Jesse has been let down by the board because every man and his dog could see we needed a striker and a left-back. They didn't give him it for whatever reason. So he has been let down. But what I will say, he's wild, man. I just think, look, as a man to boost your confidence, the way that he speaks in press conferences and that, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, amazing. Oh, I believe all this sort of stuff. But when it actually comes to tactical nous on the football pitch, I think he's found wanting. Listen, apparently the board still back him. I don't know why. Personally, the fans have turned in big numbers, but I think maybe the board realised that they have left him short by not getting him a striker and stuff. But listen, our owner, I mean, I don't know if you've seen him at the end of the window when he came out and tweeted that we'd signed Bamba Dieng all on board and then it fell through. This guy, before the season started, said in an interview, it is impossible for Leeds United to get relegated. Literally said that word for word. It is impossible for Leeds United to get relegated. We're now in the relegation zone, bro. So,
well, a couple of things I've noted, right, from your response to Cav's question, right, and 3 points I've picked up on. One is like, I've never known Joe to be this so negative about his club. Like he's always like so negative. He's walked up the street.
I had to get the dog out. Man.
He thought, sod this, I can't take it anymore. But Joe's never been this like he's always pushing the positive. Like he hates being negative about him. And two things, and one of them is brilliantly segued into one way to speak about in terms of what you said about your owner and your coach. We'll get onto what your coach said, but in terms of your owner and the work he needs to be done. So if we look at your summer action ins and outs, right? Hold on, let's get this super chat out of the way. Ubaid says, hello, Grizz, hope you're well. What do City have to do to win the Champions League? Create a backbone, create an heritage. Heritage. That's what you need, Ubaid. You need to do a lot. Nah, you look your favourites for it this season, but you won't win it. You bottle it again. Pep will do something mad. I've got your outs first, Joe.
Yeah.
Go on, talk me through them. So look, we forget about the youngsters and the loans and whatever. If we look
just
at
the two main ones, man.
Just the two main ones, right?
Yeah, the two main ones.
I mean, that is like close to 100 million, right?
Yeah.
First and foremost, value for money. Like you got your worth.
I think we could have got more, bro.
Really?
I think 44 million, Calvin at the time, England international. I sort of understand it because I remember actually looking, because loads of Leeds fans were up in arms, and I remember actually going back, and I think there was only Fabinho and Rodri that had gone for more than that. All the rest were lower. So I was like, okay, when you actually look at the rest of the market and previous transfers, 44 million might be all right. And listen, he only wanted to go to City. And again, with Rafinha, it was similar. You know, Arsenal and Chelsea would have paid more, but ultimately, you know, he's got connections with Ronaldinho's Rafinha. He knows his family. So it was always the move for him there as well. Do you know what I mean? He was only ever going to go to Barca, unfortunately, Rafinha. I'm a little bit disappointed to see how it's working for him out there because he's not getting much game time, I don't think. But I'm buzzing Barcelona going through the rubbish because they're just, horrible. But look, they're two massive players. I do think towards the end of the season, Calvin in this system wasn't working. He needs to have space. He needs to be able to spray balls out wide. Whereas in our system, we play with no width. And it's so compact and so condensed that he had no time to actually get his foot on it, have a look, convey, spin a ball out. You know what I mean? It's very much just pop, pop, pop. To be honest, at times it's like Sunday league, like kids football. It's frantic, but that's what Jesse wants. He wants to be able to create them moments where we can win the ball back and create a goal-scoring opportunity in a couple of passes, which, you know, at times against Chelsea, it can work. Against Arsenal, it worked. But it's when you come up against lesser opposition that are going to say, well, let's just negate that and go long. He has no answers. Sorry, you can see that I'm just annoyed with it all.
No. It's true. I mean, I was intrigued because Kev, like you, I was a massive, always wanted to see Leeds play. And, you know, because of the directness, because of the speed, because of the difference, like the man-to-man system he played all over the pitch, Klopp used to reference it a lot as well. And Klopp talked about the genius of Bielsa. He's that kind of coach. I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect this backlash for Jesse Marsch. I knew he's not going to be a Bielsa because Bielsa's a Bielsa, right? But are you surprised with the start and kind of... So look, these are the options these are the players they've sold. Now, any team the size of Leeds, with all due respect to them, is going to have a bit of a come down when you sell your two best players without doubt. Like Rafinha and Calvin Phillips were literally Leeds United, right?
Yeah.
Are you surprised that the fans have turned against him so quickly?
No, but purely just because this is the Premier League and like Leeds. I know we're going to say the same thing again, but they come up and they were exciting and the fans thrived off that excitement and it gave them hope, as Joe explained. And when you see the football that they're playing and it kills that hope, they suddenly want what they used to have back, I imagine. You know, if they're not going to get the results and see like you team fly up the table, they at least want to see performances. And if you get neither, then they're just like, well, he's not really offering us anything as such, you know. And it's just the Premier League, and that's the way it goes. You have to satisfy fans with performances or results. And at the minute, he's struggling to do both. I mean, I'm not too sure about. I'm not going to profess to know a lot about Jesse in his managerial career, but I don't understand what his style actually is, because I've watched a little bit of Leeds this season, and as Joe kind of alluded to, they do play really high energy, but almost frantic football. And at times it's a little bit naive, and there's never really control in the game. And there's never really a moment where you're like, okay, he's sat back there and he's trying to plan the counter, or is, you know, all that. I don't really know what he's trying to do, to be honest with you. So you need, as a fan, you need to see direction from your manager. And I don't know if Jesse gives them direction. I don't know what they're meant to believe in at the minute.
Joe, I used to think the same about Bielsa, but I thought it was brilliant coaching, because with inferior players, obviously a couple of outstanding players, but with the majority, when you're up against a Premier League team, on the whole, your squad would have been inferior, player for player, but you exceeded those expectations. You exceeded that difference in talent. Yeah. And I used to put it down to coaching. What is the fundamental difference between style and coaching, like between the two guys? Because I think this guy, like, I saw the Chelsea game. Okay, I'm not going to pretend I've watched every single Leeds game, right? Yeah. But I saw the Arsenal where you absolutely didn't deserve to get beat. No. I saw the Chelsea, and I've seen a couple of other games. I think you've been unlucky. Now, we're going to get on to what he said in the press conference today as well. But what's the main difference that's bugging you lot, like in terms of style and everything? The main difference, yeah.
The main difference is we don't play with any width. That's the main frustrating thing for me as a fan, because you see, you know, our best players, Sinistera for me. Like,
I was going to say, so, but looking at your incomings, right?
This is what I don't understand, bro. We tried to sign Cody Gakpo. He plays off the left. Like, why we try to sign him when we play so narrow? I genuinely, I don't understand it, bro. Now, you know, for just back to Cav, where does he get this from? And I guess it gives you an opinion, an idea of where Jesse Marsh's mentor is Ranić. So when he went to Red Bull, he was a coach under Ranić, and then he ended up at Salzburg. Then he went to Leipzig, and he ballsed it up at Leipzig. I was saying the other day, isn't it funny how Jesse is one of the Red Bull managers that got the boot? Do you know what I mean? Like,
not the successful ones.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, when you're playing in Austria, Salzburg, and my man at the time had Hwang Hee-chan, Erling Haaland, and Patson Daka, right? Come on.
Minamino as well. Don't forget
Minamino. Sorry, yeah. Patson Daka came at Leipzig. It was Minamino, Hwang Hee-chan, and Haaland. So, of course, in Austria, this system's going to be great. Even in Germany, right? I think, I forget who's top of the league now in Germany currently.
Union Berlin.
Now, I was listening to Football Ramble the other day. I'm not professing to know a lot about German football, but what they're saying is Union Berlin are catching everyone out on the fly because they play direct. They're going long. And that's not something that happens very much in Germany. So again, this system in Germany works wonders because everyone wants to play gegenpressing, play similar sort of style. No one's going direct. So you can catch people out with the counter press. In England, in the Premier League, trust me, you've got every single style to deal with. So the only time this system for me has worked, the counter press has worked, is against better opposition. And the reason that is because they're going to impose their game on us. They're not looking at Leeds United saying, right, okay, how should we go direct to negate what they're going? They're coming and say, we're going to play ball. Chelsea tried to do it and got caught on the fly. Arsenal in the second half, they tried to do it and we nearly got them. But this is the thing, and I said it in my preview. I just remember the way Klopp perfected the undoing of Bielsa's football in terms of when I always remember Matip, and I could see it from halfway when he started to maraud up. I was going, yo, he's dragging someone out. He's playing a 1-2. It's in the back of the net. And I was going, I remember being at the game. I could see it. You know what I mean? But everyone started to do it in the end, but Klopp perfected it. And I look at the way we play now. I think Thiago might be fit. You've got Trent. You've got Salah. I just can see you. We play so narrow, right? So there's so much space in behind. And then not only that, so I don't know if you'll see the Leicester game. Harvey Barnes could have had a sit down and a cup of tea before he put it in the back of the net. Jesse's been on record as saying, we don't need to worry about this side of the pitch if the ball's over here. It's all about congesting it into one area and trying to press them. So if you leave a man on the opposite flank, we're not even going to be looking over our shoulder at him because the ball's over here. So you could easily just switch it. This is what I mean. I just think the style isn't suited to the Premier League. Ranić didn't succeed. Doesn't look like Jesse's going to succeed. So we've coined it penis ball, basically, because when you look at it from up on high, we literally just play straight. It's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's not good, man. Honestly, it's not good to go from Bielsa free-flowing, attacking wings to then just being... And I guess for the neutrals, sometimes it does look good when we're catching these teams on the fly, but when you're watching it week in, week out, and you're going up against Palace, you're going up against Fulham, you're going up against Everton, them games are terrible because they're not going to let play out from the back, and we can't create nothing. So...
It's so surprising, isn't it? Because if we look at some of their signings, right now, he's not gone for like massive, huge names, but obviously it's not easy to get massive, huge names to come to Leeds, right? Again, with all due respect, but I thought in the summer he's done well. So I knew about Brendan Aronson, a wonderful player. I don't know if you've seen much of him, Cav, but he's impressed me every time. And Sinistera's been and Tyler Adams as well.
Yeah, Tyler Adams is great.
I mean, I know we're going to start getting onto the team lineups and the injury situation and whatnot, but I just think it's a tad too early for Leeds fans to really go on the negative, Cav. I mean, surely, like if you've trusted the man to spend 100 million, now I know they sold 2 players for that amount, and he's obviously reinvested that, spread it out over 4 or 5 players. You've got to give it time, surely, to just kind of let it settle down. 10 games in.
I want to say yes as a football fan, but knowing the league and knowing the fact that if they continue to stay in that relegation spot, it's just the nature of the beast now, isn't it? That, you know, even if they have to give him the boot and get someone in just for the new manager bounce, just to keep him in the league, they might do it. You know, so it's really difficult to say. What I would say is I had a look over Leeds' results earlier today, and other than the Brentford game, which I think they lost 5-2, they've been close score lines. You know, they're tight games. I wrote it down here. They've got 2 wins in the league, 6 losses, but they've scored 13 and conceded 18. So, you know, goals for and goals against, they're pretty tight, you know, and they're losing by 1 goal, maybe 2 goals, but they're not getting hammered as such. So it's a bit of an indication as to the fact that they're holding their own to an extent in games. I think Fulham was a good example of that, where up until the 60 or 70 minute, it could have gone either way. And I know it's Fulham, but Fulham, in fairness to them, done quite well since they've come up. And we've experienced a bit of that backlash in our first game of the season. But if not for a couple of individual errors, people stepping out at the wrong time, leaving the rest of the team exposed, not playing in the system and everyone being switched on, they could have gone on to win that game themselves. And I imagine that's probably been the tale for most games.
Well, this is what he's saying. Well, this is what he's saying today in the press conference. You know, he's talked about, if we go game to game and you look at the fact that we haven't won in 8 games based on how we performed over the 8 games, it's almost impossible to believe that the 2 points is all we've earned. But that is our reality, right? In those 8 games and all the phases in those games, what if, and I know they're what ifs, but small margins, Joe, isn't it? What if Sinistera scores at Brighton on the 2-inch line and it goes...
Yo, bro, when I heard that, I went, 2-inch line? What's he on about? Yeah, but I hear it.
But the penalty against Arsenal,
yes.
Do you know what I mean? You could still look at the metrics and you could look at different things, you know, and you could say we're actually doing okay, which I believe. But in the end, again, right now, if we continue losing matches, then everything in the entire project is in jeopardy. So he's not shying away, isn't he? He's not shying away. No, you got 7 points from your first 3 games, which included an impressive 3-0 against Chelsea. And, like, you know, he's talking about it like, I don't know, as you said, maybe he's just a great talker.
Well, this is the thing, like, it's get to the point now where Leeds fans who hear it week in, week out just feel like, oh, just shut up and get
shut up. Do you know something.
What I mean? Stop saying the same things over and over. Initially, it was great, but now it's like with anything, yeah. Even if the style's terrible, if you're getting results, you forgive it because you're winning. Because that's what we all want, right? We all want to win games. It's when you're not winning and it grates on you. And I understand, Cav, you have got a point. Like, look, I am very much on the dislike of Jesse, and there are some Leeds fans that will see the positives that say if Bamford could finish his dinner and wasn't unfit, then yes, we may have different results. Yes, we may have picked up more points. It was quite interesting. I watched a video earlier on because you're right, in terms of XG for and against, we're very much in the middle, right? We
Yeah.
should be like mid-table. But then someone, a Leeds content creator who works for T4, stripped it down further and looked at game state. And a lot of the XG created by Leeds United is when we're already behind. So it's like the team are like saying, oh, well, we'll sit off them now. Do you know what I mean? Because we're in front. And therefore, we're creating all these moments because it's all frantic because they're trying to like be in a deep block and sit in and try and get the results. So listen, we can go through stats and all that, but the eye test as well, there's a lot for that in football. And for me, I just don't enjoy it, man. You'll see it. And I just think, and even look at the three games between now and the World Cup. We've got Liverpool, Bournemouth, and Tottenham. You know, prior to that, we had Leicester and Fulham. For me, I wanted 9 points out of them 5 games. I said, we have to get 9 points. Like Leicester, before, I know they've turned the corner now, but before we played them, they were getting battered. They'd won 1 game, and that was against Forest, and they were the whipping boys at the time. And then, you know, to get beat off Leicester and Fulham and then now have Liverpool, I'm like, I don't know where the point's coming from. But, yeah, I think as well, what I have to factor in, I believe, and I say it, and I hope I'm wrong, and people click me up on my own channel because Leeds fans don't like me to say it, but if he stays, we're going down. I genuinely believe that we are going down. Because I can't, there's no Norwich and West Brom this year. There's no 2. There's normally only 1 that stays up. Realistically, this season, they could all stay up. You know, Forest will go in January. Bournemouth have been all right, although they're starting to slide, and Fulham look like they'll be all right. It could be Wolves, it could be us, it could be Southampton. You might find a season where 3 teams. Go on, sorry, I'm taking over.
No.
It's true.
I love it.
It's very true.
I love it. Speak on it, man. No, don't shut up. I don't want you to shut up. I want you to speak. No, honestly, I mean it.
Yeah.
Keep speaking because we know you speak from the passion, from the heart. That's why I love having you on because you don't make no bones about it. And I was gonna say, just because you're on my channel and you're my mate, I don't want to sound like I don't think they'll go down, Cav. And I said this last season when they were in the shit, and Joe remembers. And I said it when I was on 90 Minutes. That everyone he knows, like everyone used to say, "Oh, Leeds are going to go down." A couple of Man United lads, haters, right? Shout out Scott Saunders. So he used to shout. So they used to say, "Oh, Leeds are." I said, "I'm telling you now." Boovy as well, another Leeds hater. I say, "I'm telling you guys, Leeds ain't going down. I'm telling you for a fact." Obviously, I can't say it for a fact. I don't see them going down, Cav. I get what Joe's saying. There's no outstandingly shit teams that you know that you can finish above. Just something about the crowd and they'll keep them going. And I don't know. What's your...
You just said it there. And that was one thing I was going to raise is maybe the crowd and the fans, you know. Joe, what's that?
But if they're going against them, like Joe's saying, that's problems.
So away at Leicester, it was, so he brought off Sinistera for Joffy. No, Somerville for Sinistera, brought on Joffy. He keeps bringing on Joffy with 5 minutes to go. I don't know why, just give him a chance. Anyway, so they started saying, you know, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
So the fans have turned. And then at Ellen Road on the weekend, it wasn't even a case of anger, it was apathy. So when the third went in for Fulham, everyone walked out. Do you know what I mean? And that genuinely, even this is what I mean about the fan base turning. Even under Bielsa, when we were getting spanked 4-5, we still sung that man's name because we knew in games, we were getting beat 4-0. I hear all that, but we were creating chances. At the minute, in some games, we're not even doing that. So you might as well just. I mean,
there's nothing to chant about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And but in terms of Leeds staying up, you are dead right. I mean, Bournemouth and Fulham, of course, they've been in the league before, but they're the new teams and they're acting like new teams to the league. You know, they've still got that energy and that, you know, exuberance at the minute, and they're getting results where you don't quite expect them to. I think that will tail off and it'll be a lot more of a dogfight down there come the second half of the season. Leeds, I think, though, the advantage they have over the other clubs, it will be the fans and it will be Ellen Road and making that place really hostile, you know, and getting behind the players. And it might take, you know, a managerial change to sort of to ignite that. But I wouldn't. The one thing I would say is looking at the squad, I wouldn't say they're too good to go down. That's the thing. You know, if it's harsh because if Bafferford comes back and he's fit, different story. You know, Rodrigo, I think, it's not done too bad this season at all. But if he continues that and gets in on the goals, maybe
he's the signing, and I said it at the time. And even though I'm blowing smoke up Leeds' ass, this is where I will not criticize, but like say that Rodrigo was an awful signing. And I said at the time, 30-something million, was it, Joe?
Yeah, 20. He's our record signing, 27.5, close to 30.
He's not the guy you blow your money on. He's just too lightweight, Cav. Like, he's not for me. He's not. He didn't really do it in La Liga.
He's not for me, bro. He's not for me.
I know he's related to Thiago, so we should have a.
that's maybe what's inside of me, where I'm like, oh, I kind of like him though.
Nah. and Bamford is their talisman, obviously after Rafinha and Phillips, but he's like our talisman Thiago currently, like where he's just not available enough. Yeah. And I think it's going to come down to Bamford. If he stays fit, they'll definitely survive. But I can't see him staying fit.
This is the thing for you folks, right? I see, obviously, I sample a lot of content, not just Leeds United, and I understand there's a lot of annoyance in the fan base that you didn't go get a midfielder, etc., because you know it's the situation with Thiago. Like, with Bamford, this is what pisses me off about the club. Last season, the guy trained 6 times. 6 times. He said that himself on the Leeds United official podcast. Wow. Then Jesse's coming out since saying, yeah, we knew in the summer that we'd have to manage him. Sometimes he doesn't train. So I call him Ledley King 2.0. He doesn't train. So he's being used for 45 minutes here and there. I love Bamford, right? I love him and I love what he brings to the game. But knowing that the club knew all this and the fact that they didn't go out and get a striker is mental. The only reason we tried to get one on deadline day is because Rodrigo hurt his shoulder and he was in hot form. But it's like, what's that saying where you say, fool me once, shame on me or whatever, fool me twice. Like, I will not back Rodrigo because I know it, he could score against the rubbish teams and then he goes missing. Do you know what I mean? He's never the guy for me, but too many reclamation projects by Victor Orta as well. Buying Firpo, yeah, he was decent at Betis, but he hasn't played for 2 years. It's like he wants to go out and buy these players that are on the wane or not doing that well and then goes, oh, look what I did and look what I turned them into kind of thing. Sometimes it works. Rafinha, Melier, sometimes you get some good ones, but a lot of the time they've been misses and you can't mess about in this league. Just go get a left and a striker.
Well, this is it. So look, if we start looking at, so this is your last league lineup. Sorry to bring this up again. You probably hate this game and sort of, how it ended up or whatever. So, like, if we look at this shape, is it pretty much the shape that he's been playing, Joe? Would you say you set up a little bit different to this?
No, that is very much it. The only sort of width we do get is from the fullbacks. I think that's why he played Ayling, because Ayling gives him a little bit more width. It's quite interesting because without Tyler Adams in there, he played Greenwood. He was not. This is what I'm saying. He keeps changing it every game. We have about 6 changes. We played well against Arsenal, and then he made 6 changes for Leicester away. It's like, what are you doing? We had probably the best 45 we've had in a while, and then he ripped it all up. Played Sam Greenwood, who's not even played off the bench yet this season, and started him. So he tried, because no Tyler Adams in there, who's a massive miss, he tried to play with a resemblance of width. We've seen the centre-backs just playing crossfield balls to either Sinisterra on one side or Ayling on the other. But genuinely, you'll see, unless he drastically changes it, although it looks 4-2-3-1 and it is in and out of possession, it's just so narrow, man. Like our average positions are literally, I can't draw on there, but it's literally from.
If you give me 2 seconds, I think I could find it. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, the edge of our box. That's where we play, like straight through. If that makes sense, there's no real width, man. It's mad.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Harrison's on the right there, but seasons gone by, he would play on the left, wouldn't he? Yeah. And Harrison, for me, he could be doing so much better than what he has been doing for Leeds, because on the ball, he's a naturally gifted 2-footed player. And,
I love him.
Yeah.
He's such a good player. Yeah.
I really quite like him. And I'll be honest, the first time I seen him was that first game back in the league where you played us. And I recall when he sort of cut in by Trent and and scored his goal. I thought, oh, there's a player here. And as I watched him more and more, I recognised that he's 2-footed, and I thought he'd be brilliant, but his output's probably not quite as good for his ability, to be honest. And he was the guy that Newcastle was after in the summer.
That's right.
Yeah. So
there you go, Joe.
Yeah,
that was your last game. Your average positions.
I mean, is this against Fulham?
This was against Fulham.
Yeah. So this is the difference. So we tried. He did at times, because we didn't have Tyler Adams, try to play with some width. And as I mentioned, Sinistero's number 23 and Bill Ayling number 2. They were the only two. But if you look at the rest of it, he's so congested in the middle of the park.
It really is.
Do you know what I mean?
Now, he's spot on, isn't he, Cav?
Fulham, if you compare that with Fulham, how, you know what I mean, the 14,
look at that,
the 8, 33,
look at that.
20.
Wow.
But
look at the difference.
Yeah, it's
and what you were saying really ties into that, Joe, doesn't it? How he tries to compact one side of the pitch and put pressure on the ball. But if that, and trust me, as Liverpool fans know it, if that press isn't right and you bypass the press, especially if you can get a good long switch of the ball, which is something we look to do all the time. I mean, that's dangerous, especially in this tie on Saturday.
It's especially dangerous if we start coming over to the Liverpool side of things. If there's a couple of key players. Now, Joe, I'm really sorry, but yesterday on your stream, I told you Thiago.
Someone's messaged me, you know, he's wrong. I was like, all right, okay.
Very, very, very glad to say, I damn you, son. No, I didn't mean to. But looks like Thiago's gonna be fit for us if we start sort of going over to the Liverpool side of things, and if they're prone to switches of play and, you know, directions, like huge switches of play. For me, there's only two that come to mind that regularly can do it with consistency and quality, and that's Trent and Thiago, Cav. It's crucial both play.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, going on to the game now, this is one that we as Liverpool fans, we expect to win, you know, always round. And for me, I'm playing the strongest side possible, and I'm getting the most creative players in there, and them being Trent and Thiago. And like you say, that them players being able to sort of dictate tempo, dictate play. Trent, especially with that long field ball across from one side to the other. It sounds like if that's a weakness of Leeds, then we should be looking to possibly exploit that. But again, I mean, it depends what type of Leeds turn up, because I'm sure we're not going to see the Leeds that played Fulham, where, you know, it's battles all across the pitch and they're trying to play high tempo. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but I think they're probably going to be a bit more conservative and try players on the counter-attack. So them opportunities possibly might not be there quite as much. But I definitely, them two players you said, definitely go back in the team for me.
Well, if we start looking into the situation of both teams injury-wise and whatnot. So, Joe, this is what the latest after your press conference was, the situation. Now, obviously, we know that managers do like an odd fib here and there. But here says Leeds could be up without up to eight players. So, look, Stuart Dallas is long-term. Forshaw is long-term. We know that, right? So that's done, right? Stuart Dallas is a massive loss. Good player as well. Then we know, who's Leo?
Hjelde is just a young lad, mate.
All right, so forget him.
Yeah.
Right. Gerhard hasn't had a chance, but I think he's a wonderful talent. So we're not going to consider him. Then we get into sort of your main core players who'll be very interesting if they're in or out. Rodrigo, Sinistera, Cooper, your captain, and Tyler Adams.
Yeah. It's the spine.
What do you think?
Really?
What do you think? How's it looking?
Yeah, it's not looking great. Like I say, we're not in the best run of form anyway at the minute. Obviously, haven't won a game in 8, and then to find out in the press conference that, you know, there was a lot of calls for Joffrey to get some game time because, like I say, he's not really been given a chance, which is disappointing. I don't think Jesse fancies him for whatever reason. But then he's picked up a knock anyway. Then Rodrigo, like I said, because Bamford genuinely, let's say Joffrey and Rodrigo are out. That means we're going to have to get 90 minutes out of Patrick Bamford. I mean, it's impossible for him. It's literally impossible for him. So I don't know.
What is your other options then? If Rodrigo is out and Bamford Bamford surely will come in, right? But you're saying
Yeah,
he can't play 90 minutes.
He can't play 90 minutes, man. I don't know the last time he played 90 minutes, to be fair. It's little 45-minute stints here and there between him and Rodrigo. I think in terms of Sinisterra, you might see young Somerville start. Listen, a lot of Leeds fans big him. I'm just not sure he's cut out for the Premier League. That's just my opinion, though. We might see him across Europe somewhere, maybe in Holland, but I'm not sure. But listen, other people disagree with me, and that's fine. Cooper means Diego Llorente is going to have to play, and he is just absolute kamikaze. He's just accident waiting to happen, trying Cruyff turns and stuff. It's a bit of a mad one.
Is he, Joe? Because I thought that Llorente was the defender that you guys.
I said the same thing, Cav. I said the same thing to him on his preview. I was shocked when Joe was like talking about because apparently Leeds car crash.
Yeah, he's a car crash. He got dropped after Brentford when they beat us 5-2. I think he was culpable for at least 3. He tried a Cruyff turn and got dispossessed by Tony. He just tries all manner of things. Don't get me wrong, like under Bielsa, especially when he used to play out from the back, sometimes he plays some lovely balls. He's great with the ball at his feet, but his defending leaves a lot to be desired. So he got dropped. This is what I mean. So he gets dropped, right? We then play Arsenal, have our best 45 with Liam Cooper and Koch and Strauch at left back. Then against Leicester, he changes the left back and the centre back and changes the whole left side of defence for Leicester, and they just battered us down that side. They targeted it. You could see it in the positions afterwards and stuff. It was mad. So, anyway, I'm going back to him again. You can tell that I'm annoyed here. But listen, in terms of the personnel that we're missing, it's not great. We'll miss Tyler Adams massively. We need him in there. We've been calling him N'Golo Yankee. He is literally everywhere. Really like him. Been my favourite player this season.
What kind of injury was it? Do you think he's going to be back? Is it likely?
Touch and go.
Because that's what we always worry about, what kind of midfield we're going to be up against, right, Cav? Because we're looking legless at the moment in midfield, and he's got a lot of energy and drive in there. So
he's so deceptive, Grizz, over, say, 5 yards. So players assume they've got a lot more time than what they actually have on the ball, and then before you know it, he's nicking it off them. Now, his passing could be a little bit better going forward and, and getting it to Aronson or getting it to Cine or whatever. But in terms of breaking it up, he's fantastic.
How many games has he missed? Just the one?
Just last time out, yeah.
I'm hoping he doesn't. If we get over to our side and the injury stuff with us, Cav, 1 second. There we go. So what do we know?
First time in a while, Grizz. It's looking a bit more positive.
What do we know? Let's see what we know. We know that Thiago is back. Jordan Henderson is a slight doubt, he said, after picking up a knocking incident, but he expects him to be fit.
Yeah.
We know the long-term injuries are the only ones that are out, which is Matip, Diaz, Jota, and Arthur. But the big news, obviously, is the Thiago news, right? Straight back into the team, right, Cav? Like, straight away, or are you saying no? Let's just make sure and no rush him back because we should have enough.
Focusing on the player, straight back in, but looking at the system, it depends which way he goes with this because as we've seen against Ajax and
well, this is exactly segued into the next.
Okay, so I'll segue it then. What system are we going to play, Grizz?
See, this is the thing. I mean, it's good to sort of have options, I guess. We've screamed out for variety. We've screamed out of not knowing how we're going to set up. So if we don't know how is the opposition not going to know. But what I do or what I didn't like was in the opening 20 minutes, the players didn't seem like knowing, or it seemed like they didn't know what the system was, and that's worrying. I don't know, Cav. Do you go back to? Have we got because to me, what I said was Ajax away. We needed to get a result. It was do or die. To me, it looked like he put the most experienced and best players he got available, and then made the formation around it, as opposed to thinking of a formation and putting the players in.
Yeah. I agree, but I also think what he tried to do in that Ajax game, looking at the Ajax team, is their midfield was Klaassen, Alvarez, and Berghuis, right?
Yeah.
And then their forwards were Bergwijn, Tadic, and Brobbey. Bergwijn and Tadic aren't wide forwards. There's not a lot of width in that side. So I think what he did, knowing that we only needed a draw at the least, was he made it very narrow, very condensed, which is great when you know you only need a draw, because if that stifles your attack, so be it. That's not the aim of the game here, although it would be great as it turned out. The aim of the game is to keep it tight, keep it narrow, make sure you've got bodies around I call them technical players of Ajax, and make sure you stifle them. And he did that brilliantly. So I'll give him credit for that style and formation change. But the question is that going to work in a league game that you have to win against the Leeds side that could be a team that sat back and narrow, and we've experienced low blocks before?
He will come. Look, despite what Joe says and everything, he will be absolutely wild and mad to come attacking against us, even though history suggests that is probably one of the best ways to play us, like counter and transition against us as quickly as you can. But I don't think he might not have the personnel from what Joe's telling us, and B, confidence-wise, they might not be up for it, where we have to capitalize that on that. Then for that purpose, I'm definitely thinking we're picking 4 attackers, Cav, again. Now, how we set them up is up for discussion.
I'm in agreement with you. I think he goes with the 4. It's just, does he go with that narrow formation he played against Ajax? I don't think so. I think the benefit of it is that you get both Nunes and Salah central and give them a little bit of license to roam to find space. But as I say, the Ajax game's a different game to Leeds, and I think you perhaps need to have a bit more width in there to create spaces and create openings. So he might switch it back to the 4-2-3-1.
He will, man. He will. Trust me, man. You're going wide. Believe me.
I mean, if we have to go wide, right? If you're suggesting that your weakness is out wide, then we're going to have to put Salah out there, Cav, because otherwise we are just, Joe, do you know what's giving you or should give you hope? And Cav will agree. We haven't got any wide wingers and with pace at the moment, apart from Salah, who's playing through the middle. So I know you're worried about the transitions, but I told him, Cav, I thought if Jota's playing, you lot are going to get whacked 3-4-0. But you're so lucky Jota's not playing. Cavallo and Elliott are not those type of players. It could play into your hands.
Hopefully.
Do you get what I mean, Cav? I'm
something. Yeah, we've experienced it a lot. And like when you're talking about Leeds, you talk about the injuries, the fact they might sit back, they're low on confidence and stuff. Like we've heard this so many times.
Look at this. This is exactly what Rookie says. Look what Rookie's saying. If Leeds were playing well, I'd be super confident. But as they down low, I expect them to win. That's how we've been.
If this was at Ellen Road, okay, maybe. But not Anfield, man. Not Anfield.
Look, we should have enough on that pitch to win. But what we're saying is, Joe, we've just experienced so many times before, even in seasons where we've been successful, when we come up against teams that just sit back and they compact that 18-yard box, we do struggle. And it doesn't matter even what the personnel is at times. It's in ourselves that we psych ourselves out and we're not intricate enough and we're not patient enough and we don't try stretch teams or mix it up. We often fall into this trap of trying the same thing, and then the opposition then just know how to defend it over and over again. So I think we've got enough to win. But there is hope for you, Joe, in the fact that I know it's Anfield, I know it's Liverpool, but if you do sit back and you keep it tight and you restrict the space, I don't think he'll do that, bro. Well, I hope he doesn't. I really hope he doesn't.
I may be wrong.
So look, this is just a predicted way of setting up. See, this would mean he's resting all, because Bobby's played a lot of games, Cav.
He has, yeah.
Now, this is suggesting we're going to go to the old 4-2-4 formation that we've been playing before we implemented the diamond, which was just for Ajax, according to you. Then according to you, do we revert back to this 4-2-4? I think what's safe to say, we're not going to go 4-3-3. Are we ruling that out completely, Cav?
It depends. I mean, it depends on the fitness of Henderson and whether or not he wants to put somebody like Curtis Jones in or not. The thing is, looking at that formation is, and I don't think it will be the same as Forest, because I think Forest actually was a bit of an anomaly as to how poor we were. But again, what we're seeing with this lineup that's in front of us is a very narrow formation in Carvalho and Elliott cutting in. Now, that's fine as long as Trent and Robertson are brave.
And Trent and Robertson go brave.
Yeah, that's
which we weren't able to, or we weren't brave. Choose your pick, whichever version you want to know, if it was whether we were able to or brave enough or good enough on the day.
Yeah. And there's an argument to say, like, surely we won't be crazy enough to go and try the same thing against Forest. But actually, having had the result we got against Forest, the mindset of the players is surely going to be much better. You know, having had such a bad result, they should be going into this game going, okay, another team that we're expected to beat. They are in the bottom 3 in the relegation zones, but just like last time, we kind of took it for granted and we didn't get any points. This time around, surely they're thinking to themselves, nothing gets taken for granted, and we just do the business today. And I think that attitude, then I'm happy with that formation again. I don't solely blame the formation for that day. I think it was the bravery and the execution in the formation. So I'd be happy if he went with it again.
If we went with the diamond, this is very likely how we would set up, I'd suggest, because Firmino would come back in. But either way, again, it's that width. It would have to come from our fullbacks. Who are your 2 wide men going to be, Joe, in terms of attacking wise? Harrison and Sinistera?
Yeah, I mean, if he's fit, yeah. Cav made a great point earlier. We lose so much from Harrison out on the right. He's so much better on the left. And again, that comes to recruitment. What are you going to... But anyway, I think it'll be... If Sinistera's not fit, it'll be Somerville and Harrison. Somerville on the right, Harrison off the left. And if Cine is fit, Harrison and Somerville.
What's sorry? Just a question for you, Joe, just so I can make my mind up on my lineup. What's your aim to get at us? What would be what's our biggest threat? Would it be Harrison out on the left targeting behind Trent, would you say?
Well, it'd be Sinistera if he does play, because Sinistera is a baller. Like, literally is a baller. Like, I sit and think...
And he plays on the left?
Yeah,
left-footed, so he's a natural...
Yeah.
So
he's the guy that I think, if Bielsa was here, he would just cook. He would cook so much, but it is what it is. Harrison's gone off the boil after what was a good start to the season, but he does do this. But Sinistera would be the main man. And listen, Brendan Aronson's he's an amazing player. He's an amazing player. Really, really impressive.
So where's he gonna pick us your 11 in your opinion?
Okay, so if I think 2 injuries, right? Okay, so it'll be 4-2-3-1. I'm not sure who will play alongside Mark Rocker. I hope it's Tyler Adams. Last time it was Greenwood. It could be Click, maybe. But again, he loses something playing deeper. So it'll be Rocker and one other. I'd imagine it'll be Rodrigo at top if he's fit. Aronson behind, then Harrison and Cine. But it depends on, if Cine's out, it'll be Harrison off the left, Somerville off the right. If Rodrigo's out, it might be Bamford. It could Gelhardt. I genuinely don't know. We bought a new kid as well, William Yonto, plays for Italy from Zurich. He's not even played yet, so I don't know if we'll see him. So I don't know.
Do any of them
place to make his debut? What place?
Oh, it'd be amazing, yeah.
Oh, Grizz, how many times have we done this? Player coming in for their debut and they end up scoring against us. It's honestly, if there's a player that's new to the club or just coming back from injury, or if you can make some kind of story out of it, they always seem to do well against Liverpool. But I was just going to ask Joe, does anyone cheat in a sense? That Sinistera, would he, when Liverpool are attacking Leeds, would he hang up there and just, relinquish his defensive duties and try catch us out in any way? Or does the whole team sort of come back and get behind the ball?
The whole team, yeah, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very much, yeah. This is what I mean. I'm not expecting us to play I mean, he trialled this last season. He played with the back five against Arsenal, played with the back five against Chelsea, you know, just in them games, trying to stop the bleeding when we were, you know, trying to stay up. And both games we lost, we got spanked. So I think he'll just go with what he's gone for the rest of the, you know, the majority of the season. And I'll be listening. This is the thing, I never know, you know, with the personnel. He might just totally surprise us.
With our personnel, with our shape, then Cav, I think it's time we decided you've had enough interrogation of Joe. I see you trying to get into his brain.
Oh, I'm depressed, man. I'm depressed.
So Cav, after interrogating him like Inspector Clouseau, what have you worked out? How are we doing this? Because people are asking. Sorry, Manda's asking, is Khanage fit? Yes, Khanage is fit. Thiago is also fit. So. And let's assume Hendo's fine as well.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Well, considering Joe said nobody cheats and hangs out on that up front or hangs out in behind Trent, I'm being
passengers.
brave.
You can tell they've got no passengers. Yeah.
And look, I know it's Leeds, and we've not spoke them down, but you know we're expecting to win. But the way the season's gone, I have to have that little bit of caution whereby when we play a Palace, if Zaha stay up there, I'm thinking, do I still play Trent in this game? Do I bring Khanage back in for the pace? You know, they're the kind of reasons I was asking the questions. But it sounds as though if Liverpool can just keep control of the ball, which Thiago will help with, then we can afford to be brave. And then if Leeds are sat back, we need creators on the pitch, which is then why you bring in Trent as well. So
are you resting Robertson for Tsimikas? Or are you sticking with Robertson?
Me personally, I'm looking at this now thinking that the Champions League's dusted, you know, and the most important thing is that we win these league games and we get up the title. So we play our strongest possible team. And if we have to continue to play players and rinse them, so to speak, prior to the World Cup, you do it. You just play these games as if they're the last four of the season.
Then in that case, I was waiting for you to say that because I agree with you. Then in that case, does Khanage get into your best team now that he's fit? Because this is the massive debate with Joe Gomez and Khanage now being fully fit. Or do you stick with Gomez on the back of a good performance, clean sheet, and then play Khanage in the dead rubber for his fitness? Which way are you going around this now?
This is where it's difficult because if it was me, right, and I'm Klopp, I'm writing off Napoli and I'm apologising to all the fans that go to the game and I'm saying I'm playing a second team and I'm resting everybody. But that's not Klopp. Klopp will have experience in that side. Regardless if it's a dead rubber or not, he will have a mixed side, but he'll want experience in there. So the question is, Robbo, okay, does he, knowing that Tsimikas is a good enough deputy to him in a game against Leeds, does he put Tsimikas in and use Robbo's experience in the Napoli game? Possibly. If it were me, I play Robbo, but I don't know what Klopp might decide on that. The Khanage and the Gomez one is Khanage is more than adequate. For me, he's Virgil's partner in the future. You know, whenever he's fit and available, I pick him. But chucking him into a game against Napoli, who's probably the most informed side in Europe at the minute, might be a little bit harsh for a guy that is just coming back. So I would probably stick Khanage in this game. Not saying it would be easy, but it's probably a nice game for him to come back into if you ever had to pick one. And I play Gomez still alongside Virgil in the Napoli game and just have the two guys that have played together the most as a partnership and just use that experience a little bit. That's what I would go with.
Nunes, Salah, most definitely. Thiago, Fabinho or Henderson, or both?
I would. It's tough. That is a really tough question.
This is the questions we're going to be asking. Yeah, this is what it's about tomorrow. It's literally okay. Give you another 30 seconds to think because is Bobby starting for you then again?
No, I think Bobby gets rested this one. I think he's played a bit too much. Not too much, but he's played a lot of games, starts a lot of games, you know. So for Bobby, me personally, I would put in Carvalho. I would.
So if you're picking Carvalho, where are you playing him?
I would like to see him
in that
in the Bobby role. Yeah, because I think the thing with Carvalho is he's done better for us when he's come off the bench, and the games he started, he's come into a bit of a mixed side. And I really want to see him in a not a confident team, but a more confident Liverpool team around Núñez and around Salah. And I want him to do that ghost role that Bobby's been doing when he's had success, whereby defenders are picking up Núñez and trying to track Salah, and he's almost not picked up, and he finds the pocket, so he runs off beyond Núñez or gets onto the second balls and stuff. That's what I would hope from him if he does start. But I'd like
that leaves you, and then that leaves you then to me it suggests you're going with a diamond again. I know. To me, you're going with a diamond again, and that means if you're choosing Thiago as one of the points of the diamond, or the Yates, one of the Yates on the diamond, you're asking Carvalho is going to be Hendo, Fabinho, Thiago. You're dropping Elliot, or resting, or rotating, or are you going to throw in Elliot in there as well?
I need to write this down.
You need to call it.
I think you. I think Elliott's undroppable at the minute. I'll be honest. I think he is undroppable. Henderson had a bit of a knock. Klopp said that he's okay, but he has to be sure.
Henderson, I think I've nailed it for you. I think you're going Elliot, Thiago, Fabinho, and Carvalho.
Yeah, and look, goes against what I said earlier. It's narrow, but this is about Trent and Robbo being brave and offering the width. Exactly. And if they offer the width, and we have the men in the box, we have Carvalho, Núñez, and Salah. Núñez is key because he's a target now in the box. That's what I'd go with. I think the fullbacks offer the width. And we can mix it up. We can mix it up if we don't know.
Guys, there you go. What an amazing insight. We've named you every possible formation, every possible lineup. Don't you ever say we don't give you insight on this channel. This is why we've got the best panel in the building. And this is why you haven't liked the stream. Like, can you like the stream, please? Because the insight we've given you, come on. We've practically named you the whole Leeds squad and the whole Liverpool squad. The different formations that both teams could possibly play. Short game, long game, pressing game. Come on, like the stream. That's the least you can do. We're going to call it a night because Joe's got to run off. He's got a stream on his own channel. Make sure you guys go and check out Joe's stuff as well. Joe, name them. Tell them about your channel, where they can find you.
Yeah, just Joe Football Show. I'll be doing a watch along of the game preview. Will be out tomorrow morning as well before the football kicks off on Saturday. So yeah, please come on over. I'm on the road. 20k we'll say, even though I'm on 16, but I'm on the road. So yeah, please help me out.
100%. Make sure you do, and press the like button on your way out. Cav, we will probably be back Sunday. RedFellas, if you're about, and we'll have a good chat about all things. Hopefully Liverpool win. But the way the season's going, Joe, I'm telling you, it's not that Liverpool. I'm telling you.
4-0 Liverpool.
Me and Kev. All right, well, let's get the predictions. Kev, what are you saying?
I kid you not. You can check the streams I've been on yesterday. I said 4-0. I am not copying. I said 4-0. So I'm confident. I don't know why I'm so confident.
Cav was giving me a little bit.
Yeah,
I know. I do that, Joe. I give, and then I take.
Take. Yeah. Brilliant. But listen, I'm going with Saturday evening. I'm up for a boring 2-0, man. Boring 2-0, and we keep it moving. I just want consistency. My God, we haven't had no consistency this season. But guys, this has been your pre-match carnage to Liverpool Leeds. Thank you, Joe, once again. Thank you, Cav, once again. People, make sure you check out Joe's channel. People, make sure you check out Cav's socials as well. We'll be back with the RedFellas on Sunday. Before that, we'll be back with the post-match reaction tomorrow. If I'm in a good mood, I might do a rate and debate show. There'll be no call-in show tomorrow because of our game. Bit of a sad one for people that enjoy the call-in show, but I'll make up for it in the week. Over and out. Take care.